episode of LakeHouse Culture Podcast with your guy, Shaadie Freida. That's Shaadie. And she's back on my left today.
Freida. What's up, y'all?
Yes.
What's up?
Yes, we have a special guest I'm excited to have. To my right, our guy from right here, SLC.
Homegrown.
Zac Ivie.
Salt Lake City's own.
What's up, everybody?
Yes. Many things we have to talk about. He's dropped an album today. I've been following him since I came to Utah back in 2016. He was one of the first artists that I noticed on the internet out here. So I was like, he must be the guy that I need to see and check out.
That's like when I first started, too.
You know, the music was great, and he's just been rocking and elevating ever since. Since we moved here, he's been across the hall making these hits. Wish Kid out now, March 1st, today, Sunday, Spotify, everywhere. Zac, go ahead and let them know about yourself, and let's get into this.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, born and raised in Salt Lake City. To some people, that's kind of a, not the place where hip hop is heard, or where hip hop is even created, right? I shouldn't say heard, but created, and and that's funny that you said like 2016, because that was like my first like real year of stepping into like performing music and like making music alone. Yeah, it was kind of all started out in poetry club.
Okay.
And it's I have a lot of really good friends that are experts in spoken word and like slam poetry.
Nice.
And mine always sounded a little bit more like a hip hop verse instead of, it was poetic in some ways, and it was like, I did take lyricism into it, but it just sounded so much better over a beat. Like so much better over a beat. So yeah, that's kind of about when I started making music, making hip hop music.
Okay, well, glad you transitioned into doing that, because you are very talented in doing that, and it's a blessing that you're putting those lyrics over beats to expose to everybody, because Freida has been following your music for a while, and I have as well, so we definitely
I have
get
the same story. Yeah, it's the same story. I came out here in 2015, and you were like the internet hip hop artist out here in Salt Lake City, and I just kind of followed you on Instagram before I started like deleting my pages and going through all that Instagram Instagram episodes. But it's like you were that first public eye for urban music out here for me, and so that was awesome. So you say you started with poetry.
Yeah.
That was your approach on being your artist. When did you take yourself seriously to say, you know what, I can share this with the world?
I would really say like 2017 was like the year where I started getting more serious about the artistry, more serious about just like how am I going to make my music, market my music, what are the steps, instead of just for lack of better terms, instead of just SoundCloud rapping, right? Instead of just kind of putting it out there, and and that's how the internet is nowadays. You put it out there and it fizzles out within a week, right? Or it fizzles out within the matter of almost like a blink of an eye, and we're getting so much info, and so many songs are coming out from this person and that person, and so it was like 2016 and 15. I spent a whole year in my friend at the time's garage, and we were just learning our voice on the microphone and like really practicing just like the art of writing. My junior year, I had started writing poetry and picking up the pen, and so by the time 2015 came, I had already been writing for a little bit and had already like decided to change to hip hop music. And when we dropped a video called Ghost, and that was in 2017, and it did
most plays on Spotify.
Yeah, it did organically. It did really great things, and it was cool to watch it happen, because like we didn't have to sponsor anything, we didn't have to buy anything. It just kind of went 10,000 views in one day, and it was like, whoa! All right, well if we can do that,
people are waiting.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. That was fun. That was a cool time. So
2017, and that was around Noti Tapes, right?
Yeah, 2017 was around like Noti Tapes 1, the
EP.
the first one, yeah, and that was done with Easy Noti. And again, it was kind of all off of that Ghost video. Once we did the Ghost video, and I did it with AZA, and a lot of people were just like, yo, who the is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy? What is he doing out here? Like, as much as I tried to be in the scene and show up to shows and step on and grab the mic during cyphers and different things like that to say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
This is what I can do. Like, this is give me my verse or whatever during this set, or give me a couple songs during this set. Like, when we dropped that video, and shout out to Preston Lang, he crushes it with the video camera alone. But then that was actually around the time of the Me.
So
EP.
that was like 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, when we did that, it was always just trying to recreate like that sort of buzz, I guess, or that sort of feeling off of like making music and getting that feedback back from people and that type of fire lit, I guess, under my ass.
I guess the fire was lit with Ghost though, right?
Yeah.
And you received such good feedback and a good response from viewers.
From like random people from random countries and different people from there's a producer that actually I met, and he sent me a couple beats, but like they were all from Brazil. Like they were all like, and then he shared it once, and then it got shared a whole bunch of other times out in Brazil, and I was like, wow.
Yeah,
like,
power of the internet.
Yeah.
Power of the internet, you can connect with so many people.
Big
from
power.
so many places.
Everywhere. And that is the thing where like, I know you were saying like, you know, getting rid of social media. I personally like, I'm trying to lower my screen time.
Yeah.
Like, you know how your iPhone will tell you your screen time? I'm trying to lower that down.
Thank you, iPhone, for that.
But it's also like this mixed feeling of, okay, we have this free tool as artists to use to expose ourselves to the world. And it's
once you start learning how to use the internet for your craft or your entrepreneurship, that is where like you can cut the personal ties from Instagram and not let it affect your personal life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And you do a great job with that. Let me just show y'all what we have here.
Exactly.
He
Come
came
bearing
with
gifts.
Gifts.
Beautiful gifts. And I'm talking branding at its finest.
Yes.
All you got to do, you probably don't even need to see what it actually says, but you will assume it has something to do related with the jazz, which then will get you to Utah, which then when we say the name Zac Ivie, your eyes will see it. And that's just how it works. You know what I mean?
Go Jazz. Stop letting me down, yo.
You know, he's a homegrown native. You know what I mean? He loves where he's from. He puts on for it. And I mean, that's hip hop to its core. You know what I mean? Picking up the pen, writing what you feel, finding your voice, speaking on what you know, and then, you know, putting on for where your city.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just all the way dope. And to be coming out of a place like this,
Yes.
where it's not known
Exactly.
to be, you know what I mean? Like I said, when I saw him, it was an immaculate beard.
That
and
part.
content that was like, wow, this is interesting. And then you hear the voice, and it's like, the voice is what stood out with me. When I first heard everything. It was just
the
like,
EP.
yes, I was just like, no, this cat's voice. You know what I mean? Like, I can listen to that voice, and then you listen and start hearing what he's saying, and you know, off top you hear substance. You know what I mean? You hear lyricism, so it was just dope.
And something that I noticed listening to your music with the Me to the Noti tapes, like with the Noti tapes EP, you kind of are a little more gritty and a little more, you've got that bark.
Over that style of beat, yeah, okay, okay, yeah.
Does that have anything to do with Easy Noti, the production? Do you use your sounds? Do you fluctuate between sounds?
Most definitely. I mean, 90% of the time I'm probably going to write to a specific beat, like, in mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess there's really like two sides. I'm a Virgo. I don't know if like anyone's into astrology or anything like that, but like I definitely have a part of me that's a little bit more of an empath, right? Like I have like this feminine sign, if you will, for being like a guy, and I do have, and I'm a mama's boy too, so it's like I also have.
Shout out to the mama's boys. We love you,
shout
mama's
out to
boys.
my mom, yo. Shout out to my mom. But it was one of these things where it's also like I also had, you know, a side of me that grew up boxing. I boxed competitively for 12 years, right?
Wow.
And there was this there's this whole other side, I guess, too, right? Like there was just another side that I needed to get out because the Me EP was kind of
Alter ego, perhaps?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily just
Not an
alter
alter?
ego, but it was more or less just like,
Just letting yourself out the cage.
yeah, just kind of like letting that part of me out.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
so many guys. We understand this.
You know what it is, right?
I'm
Like
a cancer man, so I got to deal with emotions and sensitivities as well.
you want to hear that like lovey side, and that
Yeah.
I have a track called The
Right.
Softer Side of Me that Preston shot on the Me EP, and it was an awesome video. We did a very dangerous hike to get there. They actually closed the hike down to get up there.
Wow.
And Preston was just like, "Oh,
Fuck.
it's a mild hike." And we're hiking up this thing, and there's a search and rescue team on their way down because 2 people had passed away on this hike prior.
Woo.
I'm in Converse,
Oh
climbing up like a rope or whatever, and
In Chucks.
it's not a mild hike. It was,
You know he from Utah.
yeah, it was
Okay.
not a mild hike, but we went up there and we shot it, and it was kind of like a love song. And when Easy Noti sent me these beats, well, they were just a little bit more on that dark side, a little bit more of that grime,
Yeah.
lo-fi, and that has its own sound, right? Like that just kind of that blend, that mix right there had its own sound that I heard and was like, okay, this is what I need to write, and. I guess it can't always be love songs,
I mean, but that's
Yeah.
definitely dope. That shows your versatility,
Utility,
your talent as an artist to be able to capture the, I guess, like the vibe or the essence of the beat, to then be able to write this type of song to this beat and then hear different lyrics to this beat and be able to convey that
And be able
same
to
thing.
jump in that.
Exactly. Not
What
everybody can
influences
do that.
you to write and
Just life, things that are around me, things that I'm going through. Every day kind of influences me, and that's where like, I mean, I know people who are just like, yo, like I got it right. I'm not being able to come up with content. And I'm like, yo, just go live a little bit. Like if you just go outside and put it behind, the content will come to you, and then and that was my biggest frustration in like the beginning is it was like I gotta like when you step on scene and you only have 5 songs and you have a show coming up, it's like what are you gonna do? Like what are you gonna do? How are you gonna fill this in? And now it's like, oh well, we've got I can put together several different 20-minute sets or 30-minute sets that have nothing to do with each other to match each person. I mean, from doing a KRS-One show to then doing a Blueface show, to doing a Ghostface Killer show, or being on tour with Master Ace. Like, they're all different vibes, and, like, you have to kind of tether to each one of those vibes. Like,
how was it touring with Master Ace and Polo?
It was unreal. Like, it was something that I wish it would have been a little bit longer than, like, a week and a half, right? Like, I wish it would have been something where we were out for a month, because there was so much information and so many gems that they were dropping that you're just like, you're in the car and you're trying to just like not say a word because every little thing, even if nobody's talking, like just the way Ace is or just the way Polo is, it's just like, that's a gem right there. You should watch the way he didn't say a whole word because he was saving his voice for when he got on and rocked his whole set or whatever. And like
just seeing how to conduct yourself in those professional settings
all the time. And then you get in there and you're like thinking, okay, well, like these guys are gonna be, Juice Crew. This is Ace we're talking about, and they're so real. They're just like, it's just like this. It's just like talking to regular people, and that's where I was just like, okay, cool. Like the artists are regular people, just like you and I, just like anybody else. Like,
and that's what trolls fail to realize. Like,
Like
these people are human.
Just as
These
human
people
as
are human.
I mean,
what
like
a great opportunity.
the Jennifer Lopez whole Shakira thing at the halftime show, like they're just people, like, and the internet has to go so wild on them sometimes. And
I mean, but
they did a great job. Like,
they
I'm not
crushed
sure
it,
what.
yo.
That's the pressure.
They did a great
Let's see your 50-year-old ass get up on stage like that. Right? Don't talk to me then.
Man. But that's just the pressures that that comes with the territory of being
Right.
public figures, of being
Absolutely.
artists, entertainers, stuff like that. Like we put ourselves out there, and the day of internet and internet and social media and things like
It gives everyone a voice.
And not everybody's
pros and
gonna like
cons.
you is another thing that I had to figure out, right? Like, not everybody has to like me, or not everybody has to like the songs that I put out, or like they may like that last one, but they may not like the next one that I put out. But that isn't the last one that I'm gonna put out. So
Right, you're not gonna stop.
Yeah, they might like the next one then, I guess. If they didn't like that one, it's okay. Like, just roll with it. You can't get so hung up on like one slip or one song that's not really like.
So how do you approach your show taking? Because I have noticed as much content and music that you do have, to me on the outside, as a fan and as a fellow artist as well, you seem very strategic and selective as far as when and how you put yourself out there publicly with shows. Is that something like you do on purpose, or is it just, you pick what you feel and sometimes they come and sometimes they don't?
I mean, as far as like shows go, it's always just got to be it's got to be the right vibe, and it's got to make sense to me and like the team to push, right? Like it's not just me anymore. Like it's me, it's a DJ, it's my camera people, it's like the whole. I mean, CSE rolling with us to the next one, and it's like it's one of these things where I kind of now, instead of just being like, oh, I want on it, yep, I want on it, yep, I want on it, I talk to them and I go back and I'm like, well, what do we think? What do we think about this, or what do we think about that? And like, I mean, essentially, it's just
quality.
Yeah, it's gonna be quality is a big thing. Like, is it a quality show? Is the show helping my business out? Both, like, is it a good look, and is it helping me monetarily, right? Because I own my own LLC, I am my own, business now, and so there are just certain things that I had to be like, okay, cool, well, like, I'm sorry, but I can't do that show because it's just not really gonna make sense for me to go out there. It just doesn't fit where we're trying to go. It doesn't fit the mold, and so, and really it came from the first tour with Zai and I and them, like, these people are performers. The Master Aces are performers. And like, when you step on stage, and you guys know, you guys put on a great show, and it's one of these things where like you have to be that entertainer. You can't just go up and just go through the motions and do that. And that's what a lot of people, I feel like, should practice. Yeah. A lot of people have it, but people should practice that. Like, you guys practice relentlessly over here, and it's one of those things that like when you get on stage, it's polished every time. It's polished every time. Minus a couple slip-ups maybe, or this or that. Like, for the most part, like, I feel like the show has to just be like, just dedicated and polished.
I've seen you on the stage, and like I said, from the outside eye, we wouldn't know if you if you messed up or anything. Like I said, you carry yourself very well. Just song to song, crowd interaction, your voice, your cadence, everything. From a performance standpoint.
The slip-ups happen more often than I'm sure I let on, but like, now that we know how to roll. Yeah, we know how to roll on it. Yeah, like there are definitely times where I get off and I'm like, I can't believe we did that. Do you think they notice? If somebody will come up and be like, yo, that was the best set I've ever seen. I'm like,
really?
Yay, well.
Yes!
I over the first 8 bars.
Yeah, they're like, why are you frustrated? I'm like, nah, we just gotta practice again, man. We just gotta get back to the rehearsal and like.
That's so important, and I feel like as long as you, as your own artistry, recognize that where your slip-ups happen and where you need to improve, that's so important. Instead of this whole smoke and mirrors, or the cocky approach of like, yeah, I did that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that's another thing too. Is like, again, I don't feel like I have it in me to be like that. Just walk off stage up and like nose up in the air. Yeah. I just feel like, and it's just because I don't like that from artists.
Yeah.
Show you right.
Like when you meet an artist and they're just like, yeah, I know him this shit, blah blah blah, but like, really it's just like connect with me on a human level a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite artists are like those people who, like, when you go up to the merch booth and they look you, oh, what's your name, man? They look you in the eye and you're just like, I like that, yo. I like that. That's cool. It's just, it's real. It's ground level. Human to human type connection.
Exactly. That's what's going to make this world a better place.
Exactly, man.
Human connection, people.
Connection,
human
collaboration,
connection.
and all of that over competition and these things. We can come together and all win and be blessed together and just share this to the world.
Absolutely. And it's no wonder you were recognized as City Weekly's 2019 Salt Lake City Best of Local Artists Award.
Yeah, that was cool.
How did you feel about that when you got that news?
That was cool. It was when they first started dropping like the whole go vote thing, and I sent it out to a couple people like, yo, you should go vote. Like, just go to this spot and put me in real quick. And then like you know, as time went, like I had family sharing it with other people, and I had like my friends sharing it out with their people, and so and really I got second under Royal Bliss, and Royal Bliss is a really big like band out here. They're an awesome local band. We're sponsored by the same beard oil company, so I wasn't mad about it. I was like, all right, as long as amulet.
I got a beard on my head.
Use oils and balms in it though,
Right.
you know, it all smell good.
You're gonna have to give me some. You're gonna have to give me some tips because I grew up without a father or a beard, so I don't know what I have to do to try to make these hair follicles start.
It does
in.
not stop.
He
It
said-
doesn't stop. I don't know.
He said I'm natural.
And everyone tells me like, what is it? I'm like,
that whole sweater just.
I got a like a gorilla chest, and like I even dealt with that growing up too. Like we go to the pool or whatever, and like we go to Raging Waters. I take my shirt off, and my uncle be like, "You gonna take your sweater off too?" And I'm just like, yeah, good one. That one's
Well,
funny.
that's an awesome accomplishment, and for it to be in Salt Lake City and
Yeah.
to be recognized as a hip hop artist publicly, that's huge.
It
So
was really cool,
congratulations.
and shouts out to City Weekly too, because you guys, you know, they put our shows in the magazine. They do so much for just like the music community, not even just hip hop, but like let alone little old hip hop artists out here trying to do their thing, you know, like trying to get their shows in. And like and between those guys, between like the Slug Localized, like there are really cool outlets that can highlight, you know, people like us, people who are trying to become something bigger, and just for like a little bit, just for that week or whatever, just for that little mention in the magazine, like it's a great feeling. It's a high. It's just a high. You're just like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. Let's go.
And y'all keep doing that, man.
You see
Salt Lake
these-
City Weekly, Slug Mag, Localized, all that.
Go support those magazines, guys.
Check out their pages, man. Artists like ourselves, you know, we love those type of accolades and things. So shout out to the fans that vote, and shout out to the people, the editors that find a talent like us to shine.
Reach out and give us the damn chance, you know, because a lot of the times, like, you're trying to make it happen yourself on social media. You're trying to make your own posts and highlight yourself, and
you
so
just need a helping hand.
when somebody else reaches out and does it for you, it's just like it makes it a little bit more real and a little bit more
with
like
that platform. With that huge platform too, you know, to put your name on that. That's awesome. So we're gonna step away from the music. I know you just recently got married.
In October.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. How have you evolved as a man and in your artistry? Has that influenced your material?
It is always influencing she's my go-to. She's the one who, like, before I go, even like when I came here, I said, how do I look, babe? She was like, you look good. I was like, okay, cool, all right, we look presentable, we can go out. But like, you know, she's everywhere from the person who's getting her camera out and taking photos while we're on stage.
And you don't have to ask her.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? She's always like, yo, let me rent a lens real quick and we'll do it. Or she's the person who, you know, runs up with her phone if we don't have a lens and make sure that our social media game's cool. She's the first one who I talk to, you know, after a set, and she goes, you know, you did great, babe. Like, yeah, you really did great. You kind of stumbled on that one song, and I'm like, you saw that. Dang, my worst fear is coming true. But aside from that, you know, she's the reason I write songs. She's, you know, the type of person who, when I feel like even deleting songs, or when I listen to like this whole Wish Kid tape, and I'm like, I don't know, and she's like, just get it out. You're fine. Like, it's good. Like, she's partially the reason why Wish Kid came out. Like, aside from like the engineers, aside from P Midas, aside from CSE, like, and just me alone, right? Like, aside from that.
You see what a good woman can do for you?
Yeah, I'm telling you, like a good significant other in general, right?
A good one.
A good one.
Yes, a positive.
You can have both sides of like and relationships are relationships, right? Like, I'm working on being a better husband every chance that I get. Am I a perfect husband? Is anybody like a perfect significant other? But like, we just work, and it was from like literally from like day one. Yeah. From like day one, I was at
day one.
I was at a show that my buddy was DJing at, and there were 4 people in the bar, and it was like me and him, and then her and her friend, and like, it was just wild. She came in and I was just like, uh-oh. I was like, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you here? And ever since then, you know,
that was the reason.
Yeah, she's just been in my corner, and it's great.
That's
great.
So
we got married in October.
2 weeks later. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we got No, it was a couple years later. She might have said yes 2 weeks later. I don't know. I don't know if I was ready 2 weeks later though. I wasn't that type of man quite yet. But we got married last October, and it was beautiful. I mean, my whole family was there. We had way more people than we expected.
That's nice.
And I got to perform at my wedding, which I didn't expect.
Kanye.
Yeah, I got to perform at my own wedding. Goals, I'm telling you.
Goals.
But it was just awesome. I cried. DeMar, I don't know if you guys know who DeMar Jones is, but he was my minister, and he's a part of CSE too. So it was like the whole family was there. And
so he ordained you too?
Yeah, he ordained both of us. He was the guy in the middle, man, and I had to write my own vows, and that was the most stressful part of the wedding, was figuring out what I was
That was the hardest verse he had to write.
That was literally though. And so, but you can hear, and here's a little Easter egg, but like you can hear them in the song Love on the Witch Kid album. Like in between the hooks, I went ahead and threw my vows in the song, because that song is essentially about her. That one, Loving You, there's Joyce, that was about her as well, yeah. And so again, she's like the topic of songs. She's the reason a lot of my content looks somewhat presentable for social media, and she's
just making sure you're looking right.
Yeah,
that's
the best, and the best home life ever.
Partner.
You know?
Yeah. That's what
life partner.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's great. That's great. So you've been talking about, some people, DeMar and things like that with CSC. Go into a little bit and let these people know what's going on with CSC, because we know CSC. We see y'all moving, but it's all about
Capital
letting everybody else
Syndicate
know.
Entertainment. I was asked a year before last, so actually almost a year, almost a year to the day. But I was asked by, and DeMar hit me up, and he was just like, "Yo, like, who's your team? Like, who are you with?" And I just kind of been independently rolling by myself, just trying to plug in and learn and figure everything out. And I know that, Donnell's knowledgeable of the game. I know that, CSE has a lot of different people who are either a part of it or, somewhat related to Capital Syndicate Entertainment. And, I sat down and had a meeting with Donnell a year prior to even DeMar reaching out to me. And he was just like, "Do you know this? Or do you know what this is? Or do you know how to get your SEO on point? Or do you know how to register your songs and get your BMI or ASCAP?" And I was like, "Let me grab a pen and pad. What an ASCAP is, like, what is this?" And like I had no idea kind of like what I was doing as far as like business wise. It was only just songwriting, recording, and putting it out myself.
Right.
And so DeMar had reached out to me about a year later and was just like, "Hey, who's your team? What are you planning on doing?" And I said, "It's just me and, well, me, my wife, and Morgan." Like there was only a couple of us, and I had a sit down with Donnell not too long after that, and he was just like, "Yo, like let's create a record, let's create a project, let's get you into the escape room, let's get you in with Capital Syndicate Entertainment, and let's see what we can come up with." And so over the course of the year, we recorded. He pushed me in ways that during like musically that I never thought of going. And it was a cool experience to get in there and listen to him, like, kind of direct the flow of the album, record me, and it's always so weird when you're recording yourself compared to recording with somebody else, an engineer. It's a completely different experience. And so I had to learn that really quick. And then aside from that, then you have like P. Midas, who's behind the curtains a little bit, but he's also just like the person who mixed and mastered it. I shouldn't say mix. Him and Donnell kind of went hand in hand on mixing, but there are just so many different key elements. You have Derek, you have Donnell, you have DeMar, we got DeMar, Derek, Donnell, all their kids in there for the thank you track, the last track, and they were all thank you, like in the album. And so it's just, there are so many different pieces in it with CSC that it's just like, it's a machine, like a well-oiled machine.
Thank you kind of gave me the Sunday service, Kanye Sunday service vibes. I wasn't mad at that.
I was feeling it on the, on that beat, but that was probably one of the most challenging beats I had to write to on that track. Because I didn't want to sound like too Sunday servicey or
preachy.
too chanty, right? Like it had like this chant
Still be
built to
yourself.
it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. We'll just try it out. And we went in there and we got it done. And then it was a lot more different when you got like DeMar doing his thing on the second part, and when you had like the kids in there saying thank you, like it just brought it to life. But like you guys know, like when you first hear it dry,
Yeah.
it was not what I was like. Are you sure about this, man? Are you sure? So you just trust.
So
me.
with this Wish Kid, we've heard you stepping out on some new sounds and some new melodies, some new approaches with some of these songs. Was that like a strategic thing that you thought of doing, or was it just you found these beats and that's just what talked to you?
I didn't think of going those ways. All the beats where you hear, all the beats where you probably hear a different something is don't know. With the exception of the "Loving You Is Easy," that track I found that beat and just wanted to try it out. Like just wanted to just have a go at it. But it was because we were already going with like those different beats and like these different elements. And so I was just like, that's basically all I say. Here's a beat. I need it back by next Monday.
I definitely get like a more dapper Zac Ivie with this Wish Kid than compared to the Noti tapes and me. Like does that have anything to do? Was that influenced by you finding the love of your life? Because it does sound like a little more softer than the other tapes.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of the songs are influenced by like Sky, or a lot of the songs like there's probably a good chunk of it right in the middle that are like love songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a good chunk of it, and then but on the tracks where you hear like I guess the more rap, like those were the beats I brought to the table. We're like, okay, we're gonna put this in.
Right.
If you want me to make an R&B album, we'll make an R&B album. But this, I gotta
add my flavor.
I gotta put a little bit of this in there too, because
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Zac Ivie R&B album coming to you soon.
2021, maybe. But I just feel like I'm developing my sound a lot more. I'm finding things that I like on the. How do you say that? I'm finding things I like on the radio. I'm finding things I like that are a little bit more. I don't want to say pop. That's not the word for it. But like.
Just outside.
Yeah, just outside of like like the lo-fi realm. I love it, and I grew up listening to like Nujabes. I grew up listening to Dilla. I grew up listening to like real jazzy hip hop and lo-fi down tempo type stuff, and I love it. And then there's also a part of me that likes this newer style as well. Like there's a couple artists where it's just like, all right, like I'm and maybe people on here agree with me or don't, but it's just like, okay, like I like Young Thug, I like Future, I like The Baby, like a lot of these people were putting out music where I was like, yo, this is hot, I like this style, like I like the way the beat sounds, I like everything like that, but then another part of me is just like, yeah, but I like the underground too a little bit, right? Like I like the raw.
That is your foundation. So then you don't have to lose that necessarily, which is probably why you feel like we have to put this.
I need some grimy hip hop. I need some grimy hip hop in here real quick.
I think that's the tough thing with artists such as ourselves that kind of have more of a. I don't know, like foothold on kind of what our sound is, on what we gravitate to, but at the same time, it's like, well, I kind of like this new stuff as well, but I know who I am and what I am as an artist. Does that mean
am I selling out?
Am
I selling out? No, you're not selling out.
These younger cats, they just put out what's hot, and they don't really have a thought of like, am I this or am I less than? But for us, we want to have substance. We want to have something that can last.
We want to have like a core sound and like build, and like the thing is like who influenced me isn't, like, okay, let's put it into like Ace and Polo dropped a Brooklyn Story in like 2018. I think it was 2019, 2018.
I think it was early 19.
Early 19, they came out with a Brooklyn Story. And it's like, but Ace hasn't really changed his flow up. Like, he's been the same, but his beats have progressed. Mm-hmm. And he still kind of kept true to his, like, self, his style, and they just did this giant Europe tour. They're, it's doing great things, and it's cool to see that happen. And then on the other hand, you see people like M try a whole new style out, and everyone is just, everyone out here, either they love it, but a lot of his core fan base is just like, what are you doing? And it's like, as an artist, do we dare dabble in the new style or trying something different, right? Compared to
why
what everyone,
not?
We
that's what I say.
I invite all that. Like, as an artist, you have that ownership to do whatever the hell you want. You want to evolve. You want to sing an R. You about to make an R&B album.
She said it, and I'm not afraid to either.
Let the
I'm
man
gonna do it
be.
because I love it, and it's like, and that's gonna be one of those things where it's just like, okay, well, at the end of the day, I'm gonna make music for me.
Exactly.
And I love everyone who supports it. I love everybody who listens to it.
Exactly.
But that's not why I started doing it. I didn't do it just so I could
Right.
gain 1 million followers and have a heyday or whatever. Like, of course, I went far enough to, make myself a business, and I would like to be able to support my lifestyle, my house, my bills and stuff off of it.
Yes.
But I'm gonna also make whatever the hell I want to, because it's just like, why not? Like, if I want to make an acoustic album, if I want to do this, if I want to go dive into something that's a little bit more funky and EDM and rap over it, kind of like, I'm gonna just do it. And
And I think that that makes it so important to be a decent human being, because that's what people are going to gravitate towards, aside from no matter what genre or what type of music you evolve into, because that's inevitable. You're going to evolve as an artist. When you do things, you accomplish it, you want to move on to something new.
I would hope you
Yeah. But being a decent human being, you have that. I think that's how you gain loyal followers, and you gain these fans because they connect with you, and they gravitate towards how you carry yourself, what you talk about in your music.
Right.
I think that's the foundation of being an artist, and what we bring to the world as being that creative person. Everyone has, you brought this up in another podcast, but everyone has their own purpose in life. Whether you're a doctor, doctors are there to help make people feel better, and get people well. And you have artists in the world that are here to, share your story. You don't know who it's going to reach. You don't know whose life you're going to touch. But someone will walk up to you one day and say, hey, this song that you did really helped me through this time in my life. And I think that's the core of being an artist.
That's our superpower, like that's our superpower right there. And that is one thing that I've always, I don't know if I've done that to somebody yet, or I've had people say, hey, I was having a terrible day and this helped me out, you know what I'm saying? And I only hope to recreate that feeling, because that feeling happened to me listening to my favorite artists. And it's like, that if we can just keep that going as musicians and stuff, then that is like, that's what makes the world go round. I really feel like it does. And like,
absolutely.
I feel like a lot of like the core, and especially just at such a beginning stage of like whatever we're doing, whatever this is going to blossom out to be, like right now, like the core, I know all of them. Like it's not just like, oh, fan base or whatever. It's just like, oh, I've literally seen you at several of my shows, and now I know you. Like, okay, all right, Sarah, come over here and give me a hug real quick. Oh, you know Sky? You remember Sky? Yeah, you remember her. Like, and that's one of those things that's like, I hope it never changes. And it's hard. Like the more people who come through, it's hard to like remember everybody's name. Yeah, be super personable. Or take the time. And I learned that even at my wedding, like 250 plus people coming up to me, and you have 5 seconds with this person, 5 seconds with that person, and this and this, and then you gotta go walk down the aisle real quick, and then I didn't even get to eat my own. We got street tacos. I didn't get to eat any tacos at my wedding because we were so busy saying hi to everybody, meet and greet, and then by the time I went out there, he was like shutting down. I was like,
well, everybody else ate.
There were 400 tacos gone. So you guys ate them all, huh?
Well, that's a good part. Everybody remember.
That was a great part.
Sometimes we got to take the short sticks just so that the memories and
as long as they liked it, as long as they liked it, that's cool with me.
So
that's awesome. I have a question. What was the longest lesson it took you to learn, just in life?
Ooh, longest lesson. Oh shit! Can I say that? Sorry.
Yeah. Good.
What?
No FCC here.
Hey! They're beep, leaving me out. The longest lesson I think, or one of and it's one that I continue to try to learn every day. But it's just like, dude, just be grateful for things that you have around you. It's like one of these lessons that I try to focus on every day because like every day is different, right? You have your ups and your downs, or oh, I didn't get that playlist, like, oh, my song didn't make it to that, and somebody gave me some critique on this, and all this stuff, and it's just like, but man, I'm grateful to even be able to have that opportunity for you to critique me or whatever.
Yeah.
But between just like gratitude alone and, you know, blood isn't always thicker than water, you know, and some.
No, we know it.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, you gotta watch for people's real intentions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you can roll with people for so long and they're my day one and blah blah blah, and it can change like that. It can change like that because people aren't always truthful at face value, and it's really hard to see that. And I've been burned a number of times where it's just like, damn, I still didn't learn that lesson. Like, what clues am I missing? What what would you call it? Like,
signs,
what were they telegraphing at first?
Yeah.
That I could be like, all right, I'm gonna know to kind of weave around that. So I feel like I'm also working on that every day, like just finding out who's really with it and who really has my best interest at heart, and like who's just kind of along for the ride. You know?
That's another, like we were saying, difficult thing as far as the artists that, once again, we're trying to be personal to our fans and things like that, but you never know the struggles that we have gone through personally, also as well as artists, to get to the stature that we, you know, have gotten to or trying to reach, to where maybe we have to be closed off. You know what I mean? And it's like,
we have trust issues,
exactly.
you know?
It's like, damn, I know I seem like an asshole, but I don't know who to trust or let into this circle.
Have you not listened to the record? No.
Did you not listen to my last song? I was mad as hell.
Exactly.
Right.
Go listen to Naughty Tapes too. You'll see I'm mad as hell during that.
Oh
Somebody
yeah,
hit me
that's
up.
what I was saying. I was like, you mad.
Why was he mad in this album, yo?
But we heard it.
The first one.
It's like, oh, well, we get it. If you just listen, you can understand
Yeah,
why.
there was definitely a period of time, and especially just like at such an early stage, right? Like a lot of people don't necessarily hit me up because they like my music, whether it's a show promoter or like some locals throwing a show, right? And like not even a promoter or whatever, but like a lot of people will hit me up, and it's not because they like what I do.
Yeah.
They like kind of what we do, I should say. Like they like that we could bring people, or they like this, but they don't never heard a song of mine
Right.
Don't care to hear a song of mine,
Yeah.
but would like me to go to this show because we can sell tickets, and like, so there's like this, there's this like fine line between like, all right, I'll do it, but I need to make sure that, you know, I understand what this relationship is when going in, so I don't get my expectations just
That's key. Like
shot.
you said, having that understanding of relationships.
Yeah.
In all things,
In
trust me.
everything.
Because everything we do with people is relationship.
It's
Business
relationship, yep.
friendship, sexual, any of those things, it's a relationship. Make sure you know what type of relationship.
Yeah, I mean, even being at work, right? Like, we're humans surrounded by other humans that are living different lives and different backgrounds and different feelings about X, Y, Z, whatever. And it's like, you have to build that harmonious. That's why I feel like we've done what we've done so far, and it's because it's such a tight circle. There's not a lot of people who get to like come in and I'm gonna do this and this and this for you, because like I've had my hopes up and then let down immediately.
Right.
And it's like, all right, cool. Well, I know that this person and this person, you know, I could probably count maybe 6 people that I like right now that are on the team, and that's it. You know, that's it. 6 people on the team, and they all play their part really well, and we, you know, just it's kind of like a baseball team, right? Like you have to, this person, any team, this person all have to do their job in order for the goal to be met. And so, yeah, that was a tough one to learn. That was probably one of the hardest ones to learn too.
Okay.
Though, man. You know, we're glad you're learning it, and it's not breaking you, because it can break a lot of us who's not meant to be. But for us that, you know, keep persevering and doing everything, the music and the talent and the work that you've been doing, it shows for itself. So, man, just keep on keeping on, because you got it.
I have all the questions. Are we on a time limit?
We good.
Okay, good. Where did have you always had Zac Ivie as your stage name?
No, so it was Ivy at first. When I first got on, it was just Ivy. It was just my last name, and
Which is Ivy?
yeah.
Okay.
And I was just debating: do I do Zac Ivie or do I keep it at Ivy? And like it really came down to just what was easy to find on Google. And it's like, you know, you Google Zac Ivie and it's there. Well, there's my song. There's my website. There's I was in Fear Level. Oh, it says that I was in this movie with J.D. Allen and all those guys. And so like. But you
shout out Inglewood Film.
Yeah, shout out Inglewood. You guys, team killing shit.
JD, you be going, bro.
But you Google Ivy, and it's just like the Creed and like a couple different things. Like there's a couple different Ivies out there that you might run into, and so it really just came down to, I never got given a rap name, so.
Who does?
Yeah, right. I wasn't gonna find one either. They were like, "What should you do?"
You weren't gonna find one.
Rap name generator. I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that."
It's your birthday and the first.
You're from Utah.
Yeah, like I'm double not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go by my real name, and hopefully we can turn it into something that's recognizable when you hear it. You know.
And it definitely is.
Dope, using a name
it's important.
That's people kind of already know you by.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where like I could go by Ivy or Zac Ivie and. Again, like I said, you Google Zac Ivie and there's my Spotify and Get It Right Records and all that stuff, and like you Google Ivy and you got some real estate guy in this place, Ivy Juice Bar, and like shouts out to Ivy Juice Bar, maybe a sponsorship one day, huh?
Yeah, you know.
Maybe.
Oh, look at that.
And that's how it is.
You heard it first.
Plugged.
Coming to you, 2021.
But
You're welcome.
that's the thing though, right? It's like what's easier to find and what's gonna help me out in the long run, and it was just going by first and last name.
That was a great business decision.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. It was pretty easy.
I think as an artist, like, I know for me personally, I went through all kinds of, like, trying to get hit names, you know? Like, I went through, like, Freida this, like, Free Thursday, or, like, just dumb stuff.
It's
and I was like, you know what? Just call me Free. Frida's my name.
Yeah, it's...
Like, let's just do that.
And it's easier, and it's like, it's just...
More authentic.
It's you. It's you. You don't have to like play a part anymore. You can just be you. And
I used to have to explain. People always thought it was shotgun. Shaadie? Oh, Shaadie? Like bang bang?
Like
no, my name's
I know. I asked that.
That's like a nickname for me.
But my name's Rashad, and my family called me Shaadie.
Yeah.
And so when I started doing music, it was like I'll just use the name that everybody calls me, Shaadie.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bang.
Boom.
So it works.
That's
now.
awesome. How'd you get Wish Kid? How'd you find that title? Come up with that title.
I wish I had a cool story for it. We were debating on what to come up with for a name, and like we'd already had 80% of the songs done by the time I finally came up with a name, and I was like sleeping. I was like in a dream, and it like just Wish Kid popped up into my dream, and like I woke up that morning and was like, yo, we're gonna call it Wish Kid. And like there wasn't anything it wasn't anything like, yo, I talked to a mountain man and he was floating in the air and knew that you were the kid wishing for things. It was just like it was just in my dream, and it was like Wish Kid, like, and then I woke up and was just like, I hit the group chat like, hey guys, this is what we're calling it, what do you think? And at first everyone was just like, why are you gonna call it that? Like, what do you think? Like, what does it mean to you? And I was like, I can't explain it right now. Like, I need a dream reader to find out what it means real quick. But like, this is just like something that came to me. I like it. Like, I like it, and so that's what it's gonna be. Like, we're not gonna spend too much time debating on what this project should be or what this project should be. And like, most of the Noti tapes is Easy Noti and Zac Ivie, and it's like Noti tapes. Okay, that's fairly simple. Me, why I did me is because if you draw an I, a V, an I, and then an E, it looks like me on paper. My brother Cody was actually one who showed me that back in the day, and that's why I call it me, because if you do the M, and then you separate the I's, and then it's an I, a V, I would have to draw it out.
No Illuminati though.
Yeah, no.
None of that corny Illuminati stuff.
That was more the strategic ones of that.
Yeah, that was cool, and then it was also just like my very first album, so it was like, all right, this is me right here. This is me, and the album was called Me, and only a couple people know that because like, again, like so I'm originally not an Ivy. My last name, I went through like the whole court process of getting my name changed, but my biological last name is Snyder, and
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, right. That's the dude who does Superman. That's the dude who does Superman, and so everyone was like, "Oh, like the Superman guy," and I was like, "Nah, not even close, man. Sorry." But I grew up in a household of Ivies, and like for the longest time wanted my name to be Ivy. And like I got it tattooed before my name was ever changed on my ID. I like was invested in it, and so it was just like when I finally when I decided to go with Ivy, and like my older brother's influencing me on like this last name, and like I wanted to be a part of it so bad that like I was like my name is going to be that. That's it. Like I'm not gonna go by.
You go for
it. Yeah. Anything else, I'm gonna go by that, and like that's just what it was. There weren't steps in my house. There weren't like stepbrother, stepfather, anything like that. It was just we were the clan.
Yeah.
We were the.
Not the clan.
Not the clan.
Not the K.
No. The Ivy.
The Ivy
family.
Got it. We just
Damn, they put me on blast on TV
we just
right
have to
here.
clear that up on the Culture Podcast.
Nah.
LakeHouse Culture Podcast.
Make sure everything is smoothed out so ain't nobody hitting the comments.
It's all
edit that part
Oh man.
Just like we got Zac Ivie on live TV. So
you know, sound that's the clickbait. Zac Ivie's a part of the clan. Oh wait, I didn't mean that.
Yo, out of context for sure.
Good. So with the Wish Kid, this is something that I always have these questions as far as like she said, how you come up with the I love the behind the scenes stories of names and titles and things like that. With the artwork, how did that translate with the Wish Kid? With you picking the artwork with the flowers,
the yellow
everything.
flowers, yeah.
You know
so we had a couple different covers that I was actually working on. I was working on a cover that we took it in Chinatown in Los Angeles. We all went and did a show out there with Chevy Woods. That was the show, Chevy Woods. We did this show with him in California, and my buddy DJ Eyeball has this cool little 360 camera that takes a picture of like the front, the back. And we took this cool picture in Chinatown. It almost looked like some 90s, neon everywhere. It was really rad. And at first I was like thinking that was going to be the cover. And then Donnell was like, no, we should get you in the studio, like, and take a picture there and do this. And then there was one time where I was laying up. I had this art app out. And I was just playing around with a bunch of different styles. And I did the yellow flowers. I just thought it had like that nice touch to it. And then the Wish Kid font that was straight across. And while I was laying there doing that, and Sky looked over and she was like, yo, I like that. And I was like, that's it. I sent it over to the group. I sent it over to the group, and I was like, hey, if she likes this, like, what do you guys think? And everyone was just like, yeah, we're on board. I like that. It's simple. It's easy. And we can just,
nice and clean.
And like, again, I have a song called Flower. I don't know, maybe there's just like this obsession with flowers, but I have a song called Flower, Softer Side of Me, and like the very first video, I'm picking a flower off the top, and it's like a yellow flower that we had found on the way up there, kind of doing She Loves Me type thing.
And that's why I was like, it's definitely like I related it to like it being a softer Zac Ivie, and your tracks are like so groovy, and my favorite right now is the Beer Back.
Drink Back track, Drink Back. Yeah, shower beers and Drink Back. Drink Back was a fun one.
Yeah, it's fun.
And that was another one where Donnell tossed me that one and was like, yo, you should try to make something like this. Just something that's like a little bit more party-esque, right? And like I was just like, all right, cool, let's try it out. And kept it simple, didn't try to like work too hard on like I'm gonna rap fast on this part or whatever, or do this on this part. I was just like, let's have fun with this one. Let's get my DJ on this one. Let's have a fun track. And so Drink Back was one of the first ones that I got, and I was like,
we're on to something. I
like this. I really liked it.
Hold on now. We're getting somewhere.
This is good.
That's dope. Yep. So what do you have? You have anything coming up? Recently, I know you have some stuff coming up in April, right?
Yeah, so we've got, we're booked till June. I'm booked till June. I have, coming up this month, we have a show with Mike Measy. He's the one who sings I Got 5 on it in the Lunas track. The Slap Frost tour is coming through with True Justice, Vocab Slick, Equipto. Again, Mike Measy's going to be on there. And it was awesome to perform with him last time because he sounds just like he does. They call him the soul of the Bay, and it's because he just can sing his ass off, and he's so good at it. And it's so cool to hear like that song live because I got to actually go up and freestyle while he did the I Got 5 on. He was doing the hook, and then it was me and Zion and Vocab Slick and like the rest of the Slap Frost crew, and like we got to go up there and freestyle in between, and then right as the hook came through, Mike Measy hit the hook again, and it was such a legendary piece of hip hop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aside from that, we have coming up with Tribe of Eyes dropping an album, and I was featured on that album, which was cool to actually like do a reggae track. I was like involved with like a reggae project. I'm hosting events with Juggy coming up, the Slap Frost. Juggy's asked me to do that one, and he's like a big brother.
Is that Slap Lake City? Is that the same as Slap Lake City?
Slap Lake City, yeah.
Oh,
Slap
okay.
Lake City, my bad. Slap Frost is so many slaps.
So many
Slap Frost.
slapping everywhere.
Slap Frost is the Mike Measy tour.
Okay.
Tribe of Eye is a private party, and then the Slap Lake City is what Juggy does at Soundwell, which cool events. He puts everybody on. I mean, he gives everybody a chance.
Thursdays.
Everybody
Once
a
a
chance
month,
to. Yeah, once a month, twice a
month.
month, twice this month I think, because he's got
Yeah,
one.
I saw it.
He's got one on the
I
12th.
did
Came up
see
real
that.
quick. I
He's
was
got
like,
one on the
this is-
12th, and then he's got one on the 26th that I'm doing at the end of the month, and so it's like, and like there's friends of mine on every one of them, and so it's cool to like go out there and like hang out with Juggy, hang out with like all the people who, you know, are kind of running along with us and doing this thing, and then in April, I'm trying to think of what's going down in April, but I don't really. Oh, April's Devin the Dude. I have a show with Devin the Dude in April. May, I leave on tour for 2 weeks going into June. So like mid-May, end of May,
Awesome.
running into June.
Where are you going? Let the people know. What cities, at least?
So we go from here up. I don't know if we're gonna do Ogden first before we like kind of leave, and I'll drop who we're going on tour with later. But we're going from here up into Idaho. So I think we're playing Twin Falls. Then we go up into Garden City, which is right outside of Boise. Then we go into Ontario, Oregon. I'm still waiting on a couple.
So West Coast right now.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on like Eugene, and then we go down. I just barely got the confirmation for San Francisco, so we're going to San Francisco. I've never been to San Francisco, so I'm super excited. I want to see the Golden Gate. I want to see. I want to see.
I just work out in the city.
I want to see places that I haven't been before, and so far, like on tour, I've gotten to see.
Exactly.
I've gotten to see a lot of cool places that I've never been before, and so then from there we'll come all the way down the west into Arizona, into Vegas, back home, and call it a run. Yeah, call it a run. So
Nice.
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, so make sure y'all stay tuned. We'll be giving dates. He'll be dropping who he's touring and doing stuff with. But
Doing things.
You guys will be excited. You guys will be excited.
Exactly. It's gonna be something live.
And
sure.
Wish Kid just dropped, so go ahead and stream it on all of your platforms. You can download it, buy it.
Yes, please support, show
Support.
it,
Yeah, support.
post on it, share it, all those things that you would
And
do
let 'em
for
know
Lil Wayne and Drake and all these people that got
Right.
$1 million machines behind them.
I know Post Malone lives here now, but
You know?
we're from here. Just to let you guys know, I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know if you knew that, but
Exactly, man.
Oh, they know.
Gotta support
They know
the
now.
locals.
Yeah, they still hold it down.
Exactly. That's what we do, man. Merchandise. Check out everything. Go ahead and let them know where your social media, your sites, your grams, wherever they can find all your stuff, so that we and we'll make sure it's somewhere along these lines.
So I like point right. Yeah, Zac Ivie, right here.
Right there.
It's Zac Ivie across everything but Twitter. There's already a Zac Ivie, so I put the real Zac Ivie. That way, I don't know. I thought that was a cool thing to do.
Because he's
Yeah.
the real one.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool thing to do. Yeah, I don't want to buy it from him, so sorry. But Zac Ivie on Instagram, Zac Ivie on Facebook, Zac Ivie on YouTube, Google Zac Ivie. Or you can just go to Get It Right Records, rightrecords.com. That's where you can get all your merchandise. That's where you can find out like the new press releases and podcasts and all the cool stuff. So like this will be featured on there as soon as I get it. I'm going to run it on my website. We can just promote each other and build each other up, because that's what this is about. That's what this is about, yeah? So, everywhere.
Yes. You got anything?
I was going to join in. Yeah.
She got the cup hand.
Yeah, I did.
I catch a golf clap.
That's a bucky.
So,
That's called a bucky.
So what we got coming up? We have anything coming up this week in Utah?
We got Changing Lanes band at Gracie's March 12th. It's a Thursday night, or is it?
Thursday night. Yes, it's
Is
Thursday
it?
night.
It's a Thursday night. So come on out. I am one of the lead singers in Changing Lanes band, so you don't want to miss this.
You sure
Trust me. We put on a great show for the party animals that want to come out on a Thursday night.
Yes.
What else?
We have
Also, Slap Lake City
on
March 12th.
The 12th
at the Soundwell.
You guys on that one?
Soundwell. I'm gonna probably show up.
Yeah.
Because I gotta go show up with they gig, and then I'm gonna run over to Soundwell too.
Busy.
So man, you know, we gonna make sure we get all this work done and support everybody that we can. I know Echo has things going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday as normal.
And don't forget to vote if that's what you want to do.
That's what you choose to do. You know what I mean? That's coming up as well. I know today we have a couple birthdays. We have Mama Drisdom. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
And my daddy birthday.
Is it
happy birthday.
Dad birthday.
Oh.
So young man,
Yeah.
happy birthday, father. And it's gonna be a good month. But we enjoyed having this time.
It was
Zac
such a
Ivie.
pleasure just talking with you and getting to know you.
It was awesome.
So,
We're
This is
neighbors,
great.
man.
yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
know.
I've never even stepped foot in here.
Like,
I've only
who else
heard
is
you guys.
in there?
I hear you guys all the time. I'm like, man, they got a full band. When do we get a full band, Darnell? When do we get a full band?
But it's dope, man. We
He's just
appreciate
fighting
you
to
coming
you
out,
right
man.
now.
We appreciate all the work you and CSC have been doing. We definitely got to get some collab stuff going.
Anything for you
Absolutely.
guys.
Man, you already
Anything for you
know.
guys.
So everybody, Wish Kid out now. Go ahead and stream that. Make sure you check out Zac Ivie. That's ZAC IVIE on all platforms. The real Zac Ivie on Twitter. CSC Utah on Instagram as well as on Facebook. You can check out him and the rest of the lineup that they got because they be smacking all these things. They got gigs, they got shows, they got merch. They got it all for you, and it's coming right out of Salt Lake City, Utah, homegrown, owned. You dig?
One thing I forgot to mention too, CSC is not just me. CSC also has Kelsey Nicole,
Yes.
Sadie,
Yes.
and Nevaeh.
Yes.
All great talent. So, you know, that's
So much
just-
talent
Yeah.
here in Salt Lake City. And if you're from Salt Lake City and you rep your city and you don't know who Zac Ivie is, you can start today.
Go ahead and wake yourself up.
That's okay.
Because you
That's
sleeping.
okay.
You dig? But
Yes,
make
yes.
sure y'all check out all that because if you don't know these people, they will stop through here and we will make sure that y'all know who they are coming out of Salt Lake, Utah. We are the LakeHouse Culture Podcast. Shaadie, your guy without the Y, SHAADIE. Freida to my left. Our guy, Zac Ivie, coming out of the Lake House. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
LakeHouse running this game.